Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Sealed for Good. I'm your host Shandy. Today we'll be looking at everyone's favorite primer, our general purpose, better known as GP. Hope you enjoy. Whether you're preparing your surface for a membrane application or tiling application, Gripset GP is your go-to for any porous or absorbent surface. You know, the primer really is the foundation to your system, so you want to ensure that it's done right. As per any application, your first step is ensuring that you have the materials required and appropriate tools ready to apply the product. Gripset GP is quite versatile in its application methods, so this can be applied using a brush, roller, or even some airless spray equipment. You do want to use a clean bucket. It's always important to decant any product that you're going to use, and this way it ensures that any leftover product from the original packaging stays fresh and it'll stay in good condition for longer. So as per any other application, you do need to start with the first crucial step, which is surface preparation. So that's always going to depend on the condition of the surface, but that might require some grinding. You know, whatever it might be, you might want to patch up some sections. And then from there, ensuring that your moisture level is appropriate for the application of just a GP. So if you refer to our data sheets for the different membranes and different products, generally that's below 5% when you're checking moisture on the surface. From there, you want that surface to be stable, smooth, dry, free from any contaminants. You can then carry out the water droplet test. This is a really handy way to not only determine whether your surface is porous or non-porous, where if the water droplet doesn't absorb, you will want to move on to the OP primer. But if the water does absorb, then you know that you're good to go with the GP. The other thing that it can indicate is the demand of the primer on that surface. So we have a guide on the coverage rate, but that's always going to depend on the porosity of the surface you're applying the primer to. It does give you a good indicator of how much primer that you're probably going to use. And the other thing that it does is if that water draws in straight away, it indicates that that surface is very porous. So it becomes even more crucial to apply your GP primer effectively to reduce the risk of pinholing to a membrane system. So once you've prepared your surface and you're ready to apply the primer, it's really just making sure that you have enough product on your roller or your brush without it sort of splashing around and dripping everywhere. So some contractors do like to use a painter's tray. Others will just sort of wring it out or let it sort of the excess drip out back into the powder they're using. Always important not to dilute the GP primer. Use it in its neat form. Apply an even coat over that surface, and then what you want to do is wait, about a minute to make sure that the primer stays in its wet state and that it's able to transfer onto your hand. If it's drying too quickly, then you're not allowing that primer to really penetrate that surface, and you might still have a high probability of some pinholing if you then apply the primer. So effective priming, one coat. If it dries really fast, apply another one. If you're seeing that it gets absorbed, you might even need a third. So it's really crucial to make sure that you're applying sufficient GP. Any specific advice that you need, then you can always call Gripset Technical Services. So once you've applied your GP primer, like any liquid applied product, you need to ensure that it's going to cure effectively before the overlays. You do want to inspect the surface that you've primed. You don't want to have, areas where the primer might have ponded. You want to dry them up, sort of wipe it down with a cloth. And then, generally in normal ambient conditions, it will take 20 minutes to 30 minutes for that GP to dry, and then you're ready for your overlays. I hope this helps with some tips on the application of GP. Until next time, happy waterproofing. Big shout out to Mehdi from Mononest, this week's Applicator Spotlight. You're doing a fantastic job, just really lifting the bar in the industry. We're loving all your posts. We're loving everything that you're sharing on social media. Really demonstrates best practices and really what can be achieved when you take the care to get the job done right. It's not a surprise from us. We've been dealing with you for a long time, and you've been that way since day one, so well done.